we're talking about Katy Gallagher, here's another thing she doesn't want to talk about, and that's cuts to the public service.
Yeah, the Finance Minister has told government departments they need to find budget savings of up to 5%, but she insisted this morning this was not a precursor to job cuts.
Well, if you're asking me if that 5% is going to, exercise that we're doing is going to result in job losses, I can say that is not what this exercise is about. Broadly, across the APS, I would expect the APS to remain largely the same.
Well, it hasn't remained largely the same under Labor. It's actually grown significantly, right?
Yeah.
So you employ more people and then you go to the more people and say, oh, by the way, can you find a 5% cut here somewhere? You can imagine they'd be looking around saying, well, I don't know, we've got more people to service, we've got more salaries to pay. Where do we find the 5%? Perhaps if they didn't employ so many more people, they wouldn't now have to be cutting 5% out of it.
Yeah, exactly. And the funniest part about all this, Catherine called you James. I'm just used to saying James. It rolls off the tongue. So, Caleb, earlier this week, you recall there was this report, I think it was in the Financial Review, that the government was going to go on an austerity drive. That's what they're calling it. An austerity. They've changed it. Positive austerity drive, right? So they realised, you know what, we've spent too much of your money, but we're going to call it an austerity drive. We're going to cut back the public service. But never mind, that's what Peter Dutton, of course, did. That was a policy they put forward to at the election, and he was labelled Donald Trump 2.0. Now you've got Senator Gallagher coming out today going, no, absolutely no cuts to the public service, despite the fact that 40,000 extra public servants have been hired since 2020. And by the way, there was an article on Friday which said that only a third of the public servants actually turn up to the office five days a week.
Oh,
so where is all this government spending going, and the public service is just ballooning by the day?
Indeed. And if you look at it, I've gone through, look, I'm a boring person sometimes, so I look at these things. But if you go through and calculate the spending in the federal budget per head of population in real terms, so account for all the inflation and whatever. But every budget under this government has, in real terms, increased the spending per head of population. So they can't, austerity, come on.
Austerity.
No one seriously talked about austerity since Abbott and Hockey tried it on in 2014 and got slammed by the public for doing so. Everyone's too afraid to cut anything since then.
Yeah, well, otherwise you get labelled Donald Trump 2.0, as Peter Dutton discovered. Let's get more on this now. Joining us is Nationals MP Michael McCormack. Michael, welcome back to the show. Thanks for joining us. So we've got Labor's spending hitting record levels. Katy Gallagher claims there's not going to be no cuts to the public service, despite the fact that the service has ballooned by 40,000 since 2022. How else is it going to find savings then?
Oh, precisely. It's like the arsonist setting fire to something and then wanting you to take credit for trying to help to put it out. And this blaze is out of control. Spending is out of control. That's why inflation is so high. But they're not spending in the right areas. What they're doing, certainly for regional Australia, is diddly squat. There's no regional funding for roads. Our roads are appalling. There's no new funding for mobile phone connectivity. And yet here's Labor wanting to take credit for something that they themselves started. They put in thousands upon thousands of additional public servants. They then ran a scare campaign prior to the election saying that Peter Dutton was going to slash the public service. But what we've seen is a complete blowout of expenses, simply not good enough, typical Labor.